So many people are saying so many things. So MadMan presents What the are they saying? Thank you for tuning in, guys. So as I was scrolling through my videos on YouTube, I stumbled upon this really beautiful video from Khabib, and I just want you guys to take a moment and watch this video.
Alhamdulillah, thanks God. A lot of people underestimate one thing. When they become famous, rich, when they become success, they all beginning to talk about, oh, this is because of my mindset, this is because of I work hard, this is because my business mind is very smart, I'm very strong guy, I can handle anything in the world. But what about other millions and millions people around the world who work so hard, but they don't have this position, what I have? This is test from Allah. This is test from God. He give you this. He wanna test you, how you gonna handle this. Don't make this mistake, guys. Everything come from God, Thank you.
So basically, what I take from this video is that the point that I've already mentioned in one of my earlier videos, and that is we do not have any control over the result of our action. No one has absolutely no control over the result of one's actions. The only thing we have is to put the right kind of action. That is the only thing we have. So obviously we live in a society where if someone is quote unquote successful, we do not have to figure out if he is successful or not. He himself will shout at the top of his lungs to the entire world that he is successful, and he'll teach you how to be successful and what he did, what he did not do, and probably he'll even have his own quote for working hard and all those things, right? So what I'm trying to say is we live in a society where a quote unquote successful person is continuously bragging about being quote unquote successful. Now my experience is that the more successful a person is, I'm not talking about all the people, but usually the kind of people that I've seen, the more successful one is. Now obviously the definition of successful in the society is obviously possessing in a certain amount of money, house, or whatever it is. So my experience is that the more successful a person is, the more pressured he is to act successful. And the more pressured he is to act successful, the farther away he is from being comfortable. He is farther away from being true to his nature, which means that he is farther away from being happy. Because you cannot act happy, you have to be happy. But when you're acting to be someone else, you can only act to be happy. Now obviously in the later part of the video, Khabib says that it is a test from Allah, it is a test from God. Now obviously Khabib is a Muslim, which is different from the religion that I was brought up with, which is Hindu. But my concept is that religion is not the truth itself, because truth cannot be different for different people, right? Truth cannot be different for a Christian person and different for a Hindu person or different for a Muslim person or whatever, right? Truth has to be one. And my concept is that all these religions are not the truth themselves, but they are pointing to the truth. They are like a signboard that shows you where to go for truth. Now as Khabib talks about, it is a test from God and you have to conduct it as a test. Let me show you how I interpret it. Now let's take two cases. One, there's a guy who is a proud successful, like he has a certain amount of money, certain amount of possession, but he's really proud. He's always boasting about having achieved something. I worked hard, I did this, I did that, it's because of my hard work, it's all those things like Khabib says. Now when someone is a proud successful, he has a lot of ego, and the only reason is because he started the journey to become successful because he wanted to become something other than what he was, right? Now when you start out a journey to become something other than what you are, and when you achieve whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, it is very natural that you try to act like that, because in your mind, a successful person acts a certain way. Now, when you're that, you want to act a certain way because you want to stand out in the crowd, right? So you're always putting on this mask, not only to show other people, but for yourself, because now in your concept, you're successful and you have to act that way. So by doing that, you're always, as I said earlier, you're always pressured to act successful. You're always farther away from what your true nature is, and you're always farther away from happiness. Because happiness is in being comfortable with who you are. But when you're putting on an act, you'll obviously try to put on an act of being happy, but happiness is just ease. It's not an acting. On the other hand, there's another individual who is as successful as the other guy, but he's not proud, because he understands, just like Khabib refers it as, he understands that obviously he put in the amount of work, but the result of that work was not his. In that manner, he was lucky comparing with the people who put in the same amount of work or even more, but did not achieve the same result. So when someone is not proud, when someone is, just being himself, he does not have to put on the act to stand out in the crowd. He does not have to put on an act to let other people know how big of a person he is, right? Now, when that happens, he is closer to the truth. He is closer to his true nature. And when he's closer to his true nature, he is closer to happiness. He is happiness itself. So, just looking at these two cases, obviously we've seen these in our daily lives, right? They're like some rich but absolutely miserable people. And there are also people who are rich, but they're conducting their life simply, they're happy, right? Now, that itself proves that happiness is not in the possession. Because if it were in the possession, then both of them should have been happy. But since they are not having the same amount of possession, it proves that happiness is not in the possession, but it's in their attitude towards the possession. Now, when happiness is in your attitude towards something, then it means that it is something within you, which means that in order to be absolutely happy, you need nothing outside of yourself. So, as Khabib says to conduct this test properly, I would put it this way. If you have a lot of possession, if you don't have a lot of possession, whatever kind of situation that you are in your life, happiness depends on your attitude towards it. So, just realize that happiness is just within you and you can be happy right here, right now, by accepting what you truly are. Now, having said that, thank you for tuning in and thank you for your love and support. If you want to buy helpful books, just go to www.hellomadman.com and thank you again.